just in case it makes its appearance, because he and his minions do like to claim it. I am not a hater. I am not a clout chaser. I am not doing this for likes or clicks. However, I am doing it for as many people as possible to view, because I strongly believe as many people as possible need to know about this character and his deviancies. Nothing else matters to me. You don't have to subscribe to my channel. You don't have to like. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. All I ask is that you view and possibly share what you've viewed. Simply do what Marcus even advocates. Get the message out there, because it's important for people to know. Well, that was a bogus one-sided exclusive. The focus here was to gang up on the morality of a youngin and their young decision-making moves while being one-sidedly biased in favor of Marcus, avoiding asking Marcus any of the hard questions pertaining to his questionable moves, questions that would have definitely been hard for him to just explain away. If you're 40 years old and you have a 23-year-old woman in your home for 5 fucking months and she's not good enough to meet your children, but she's good enough to have both threesomes and unprotected sex, and you eventually impregnate her too, something is very wrong with what you're doing. And blaming others' actions and saying how you feel stabbed in the back, betrayed, or how that was a snake move after they've outed you and your actions, well, what titles do you have for you? Other than being disappointed in yourself for allowing blah blah blah. Unless it's for allowing yourself to be caught pulling all of your bullshit. If you tell her she can't be there without giving up sex, how can you be offended if she sees you as a trick? You are a trick. A trick is a person that gives females money for their sex and their time. You do that, yo. You've literally said you've done this. And spending your money on things that are going to benefit you, that also has, you gotta give up the pootie in order to stay here and receive the rewards of this spending. Yo, if that's attached to it, that is the definition of trick shit. How are you not a trick if you're doing trick shit? Saying I'm grown, they're grown, and then trying to accuse a young woman of trying to damage your image is wild crazy, seeing that you're the one that stopped her for your interview. You then effed her the same night, kept her in your house to F for 5 more months, impregnated her, and then talked her into aborting that pregnancy. And now we have 2 older individuals on a live panel acting like being young and impressionable isn't a real thing. You two are actually proving the point of being older and manipulative with the conversation. And you're doing it on live with witnesses. That is fucking wild. At Shina or Sheena and at Marcus equals fail, son. Yes, she's young. Young and making stupid moves, which a lot of young people do. But 2 supposedly more mature older folks ganging up on a younger person for making stupid decisions, something that they're prone to do, but not saying much about the older person who joined her in making those stupid moves, and who's making even stupider moves himself, multiple times, with multiple women? That's insane! No, I'm not going to be biased for any particular side. Yana is young and impressionable, and more apt to make stupid decisions based on only having 23 years of young experience. Yeah, she's going to fuck up. She's probably going to fuck up tomorrow. But to be 40 years old and helping young people fuck up, or actually fucking up some young person's situation with your own fucked up choices, like not using protection, that's a different level of deviant fuck up, especially for someone who's constantly pointing to the fact that they're grown and supposedly intelligent. What? These are not moves of intelligence. These are moves of an idiot. Marcus trying to explain to Yana what it was, what it wasn't, and saying that it was not a relationship, but still choosing to have unprotected sex? Like, what kind of mentality chooses to make that kind of idiotic choice? I mean, the results prove that that choice was clearly the wrong choice. What if one of them had HIV? That alone says there's something wrong with this supposedly more mature dude's way of thinking. Forget Yana. She's young and possibly stupid in some sense. But Marcus isn't young and claims to not be stupid. So, what is he? What kind of mindset makes a completely irrational, unsafe, and now that a baby has been aborted, murderous decision like that? Furthermore, blaming things on her without any real self-accountability is fucking lame, yo. This dude is 40 years old. He should be aware of how to protect his image from these youngins, especially with all of that ability to feel folks' energies and those special body language reading skills he claims to have. Yo, one of the easiest ways for him to immediately protect his integrity is simply quit interviewing these women and having pervy after intentions and agendas. Or just stay the fuck away from them with that perv shit altogether. First, none of the people you claim is trying to damage your image are responsible for your image. Neither are they responsible for your credibility or your brand. You're the one out there doing dumb shit that's damaging your brand's integrity. You have multiple women saying some of the same negative shit about you, and none of what they're saying is the reason your brand is taking a hit. Your actions out in them streets coming to light are the reasons you're taking a hit. Second, being stupid enough to have unprotected sex with a couch-to-couch hopping 23-year-old, Yana, a mentally challenged edibles thief, Monique, a 19-year-old female with obvious personality disorders, Layla, and a double amputee with obvious personality issues, Sunny, all within a year's time? Nah, being grown ain't the go-to here. I'd go with very flawed judgment abilities and a seriously nasty disposition for redirecting personal blame towards others, where your kids lay their heads and everything else. Well, what kind of insane mentality invites so many different unknowns, mostly homeless, into a space where their kids lay their heads and everything else? Like, who the fuck does that? You ain't normal, nigga! The 1 hour, 4 minutes, 23 second mark of the Sheena interview. That explanation is weak, son. If you don't want to have children, wear fucking protection. Bottom line. You can't insist on not wearing a condom, get someone pregnant, insist that they have an abortion and expect things to just be normal again, you have absolutely no idea what kind of effect that has on the young impressionable mind of a 23-year-old girl. Everyone questioning her as to why she didn't protect against pregnancy. Well, to be honest, she really didn't express not wanting to get pregnant, for one. Maybe that 23-year-old immature mind wanted to get pregnant by some not really known perv who likes to randomly bone homeless women. But he definitely didn't want children with someone he wasn't serious about. So why not use protection? Again, this is a fucking 40-year-old man that's supposedly intelligent, and he also made the choice not to use protection with someone he wasn't serious about. And that spiel about the mother of my kids would never, ever try doing things to harm me because of integrity, loyalty, and blah, blah, blah. He's saying all of this after showing no integrity or loyalty himself to this situation. Classic narcissist, ego-driven sociopathic behavior.
All of that shite was low-level manipulation that probably and mostly works on youngins with compromised thinking, especially during times of crisis. And you actually had the audacity to display that bullshit on a live show where people can again see you? My word, I'll say it again. This dude is a classic, egotistical, narcissistic, sociopathic deviant with a side of Napoleon complex. He expects folks to do things to protect his image in the public's eye. And apparently, he also expects this loyalty from his ex. I can almost guarantee this dude has skeletons to the ceiling in his back history. His ex is his ex for a reason, which is probably one of the reasons no one has ever seen her at all. Simply applying logic to his expectations of loyalty while being an unloyal person himself, and being able to actually see a visual YouTube history of the way he's moved so far, dictates that narrative possibly being nothing but facts.
And with all of these sexual encounters without protection, I wouldn't be hard-pressed to believe that one of those bones may be an STD that he doesn't mind sharing with the homeless women that he obviously sees as lower than himself. Speaking of bias, well, I wasn't, but I want to. How does this Sheena character ask the question of sleeping around without using protection? Yana answers the question. Sheena then says, with that being said, and then let's dude just get away without even attempting to answer the question. He didn't fucking say anything. What? One of the most important questions of the live, and you fumble it? What's going on here? Is everybody being punked? It was crazy seeing all of those women in the chat box section also refusing to see that manipulation is a real thing, especially with an older man dealing with a much younger woman. We're talking about a 17-year age gap here.
If you don't honestly believe that this guy coerced, pressured, influenced, suggested, etc., etc., that young woman to get that abortion, your frail mentalities probably had most of you experiencing something similar at one time or another in your own lives. And if not, some of you are definitely headed towards being somebody's next victim, because your abilities to see red flags is
Boo! The gaslit redirecting response from Marcus when responding to, "Do you like sleeping with homeless women?" and how he now constantly refers to the homeless women as interviewees instead of homeless seems a bit odd, does it not? It seems he's trying to be more politically correct with his answers. It's all bullshit, especially when every headline on every one of your videos you ecstatically refer to them all as homeless and not interviewees. And it begs to be asked, so I'll ask. If you're sleeping with all of the women you proclaim to be sleeping with, some professional, some regular working class, some chill or whatever, why even have entanglements with No. This is ridiculous. Nobody can see the ridiculousness of this guy. Why is he now so adamant about calling them interviewees when he absolutely loves referring to them as homeless? This is Psych 101, people! He knows it's not a good thing that he's doing. So much so that he actually has an issue with even saying that he sleeps with homeless women. He can't even say it because of his ego's shame. This guy is so stupid, he doesn't even realize when he's self-snitching. Constantly referring to these women as interviewees on that live was a redirection and avoidance tactic to avoid acknowledgement that he's actually targeting homeless women to bed down. If you sleep with so many women that are not homeless and who are professionals, nurses, engineers, and other professions who actually have jobs and homes, then there's absolutely no reason to sleep with homeless women, some of who actually sleep on the sidewalk. But you do that because of the deviancy in you that you also deny. And if you don't think it's a deviant and somewhat abnormal desire to have, share this with your professional working class bedroom partners. Share with them that you occasionally like to sleep with homeless women and not use protection. You are a real idiot out here. What an example you are as a so-called man in the eyes of your daughters. It's a common theme amongst young girls when they come of dating age to choose men that remind them of their fathers. And with fathers being daughters' first loves, imagine your daughters thinking this about some guy. Hey, he has a nice Jeep and a huge ego. He seems to focus on sex a lot and is kind of pervy. Now, without having to debate anything with anyone, because you know you, and we're talking about the other side, not the good side. You personally know what your daughters would be in for if they pick someone that reminds them of you. You see how your short-term, self-serving satisfactions and projected father-to-daughter imaging isn't working out too well for possible long-term possibilities of daughters choosing partners that remind them of their fathers? It's sad to think you're trying to play chess when you're on a checkers board. Your little redirection and specified wordplay only works on certain individuals. Psychobabble is for minions, not intellectuals. And what's with that sowing your royal? Come on, get off of it. That's not accurate at all. Wild oats, maybe. Wild deviant oats. There's absolutely nothing royal about you. Stop it! Oh, and process this. If you're not happy with the thinking process of 23-year-olds and how they think like 23-year-olds, stop fucking them and expecting them to have the same mental processing of a 40-year-old who themselves doesn't really have the mentality of a 40-year-old. You think like the youngins you have sex with. I personally don't believe these professional women you speak of even exist. At least not as your bedroom partners. And if they do, and they have any intelligence about them, they won't exist for long. Not for a deviant, non-condom wearing sexual predator of homeless women that uses interviews as cover. If any of you, honestly, have a failure to read this guy, and for some reason you still admire him for what you think he does, there's literally and more than likely something wrong with you too. Go and get that checked immediately. And a word of advice, Marcus. This is what you call body language reading. The picking up and putting down of the cups and glasses that you have there. If you pick it up, hold it in front of you for a few seconds, and then you put it back down without taking a sip out of it, that's nervous perv energy, yo. Get a hold of yourself, man. Your nervous perv is showing.